What a gracious moment to have you today for this particular conversation about personal growth. First, I want to express my gratitude that you are here for this particular conversation, and thank you for choosing to grow within our channel. Seeing you today means you are here because you want to personally develop yourself and build yourself to a better version of yourself. So, the conversation about personal growth is a diverse conversation. It's a lengthy one. I know we may not be able to cover it all in this particular presentation, but I would love to see the 5 principles making your journey a little bit creative, making your journey revolutionary, making your journey a little bit easier so that you can be able to master yourself and make a better version of what you are growing. If you want to be the best in your careers, if you want to be the best in your project management, if you want to be the best in your personal life, I wish you the very best. So before we present this discussion, in case you are new to the channel, we'd like to ask you to join us by subscribing, share to your friends, and increase growth and influence so that you can transform the lives of as many people as it can be. So as I invite you to this presentation, I want to challenge you to master all the principles, understand how they can play a role in the life, see how you can be able to work around to build them each by each step. I wish you the very best. Let me see you in the presentation. Here we go. Welcome once again to the presentation on 5 principles to revolutionize your growth. And I expect that at the end of this discussion, you will have been able to understand how principles such as having conviction, being ambitious, being proactive, working in teams, and having a strategy can be able to help ease your journey of growth. So straight away, we are going to handle our first presentation, that is being convicted. And what comes to your mind when you hear about conviction? What comes to your mind when you read about conviction? For me, I believe conviction is about 2 things. The first part of it is anger. The second part of it is being hungry. Why do I believe so? Let me give you a small assignment. I want you to pinpoint an occurrence in your life when you were so mad at something or someone. And I'm pretty sure that if you had been given a chance to confront with the person who angered you, most probably you could have harmed that particular person or even caused a fatal confrontation. Why? Something was bothering you to your limits. For me, I believe sometimes we need such kind of anger when we want to transform the way we are doing things. We need to be angry. We need to be angered, and we feel that we really need to change this particular situation. Because conviction is about having that strong belief in something. It's having a strong opinion that this is what I really want to achieve. So you have your goals, I know, you have your values, you have the ambitions, but do you strongly believe in them? Do you feel this is actually what I want? Do you have that clarity of mind? Do you possess the commitment? Are you willing to be determined along the process? Conviction plays a very important role in our journey of personal development because it's the actual place where you lay your foundation. It's the place where you can develop the other aspects. Because whenever you have decided and said that this is actually what I want to do, if you're talking about a program, for example, let's say you want to do an academic program, you say this is what I have to do, and I'll do it whatever it takes. Because you need some clarity, you need some decision making on a different level. So let's continue and see how can you be able to build your level of conviction. And it centrally plays some aspects of values, passions, focus, and all that. But let's start with this. What truly matters to you? Why do you want this particular thing? Why? What is your motivation? What is your reason? Because if you don't have that particular reason, which is definite, which is so ingrained in you, it's easy for you to be derailed along the way. Are you passionate about whatever decision you want to take? Are you passionate about whatever career progression you want to take? Let's say you want to be a manager. Are you passionate about being a leader? Are you passionate about pursuing this particular career? Are you passionate about starting and maybe pursuing this particular business as an entrepreneur? So you need to develop one, your core values and ensure that they are aligned particularly to what you really wanted to achieve. Ensure that whatever field you choose, you have passion in it. You feel the joy of working so that you don't have to strain mentally and physically. In as much as the process of personal growth will require much from you, it should be something you find joy in it. It should be something you are enthusiastic in it because that will make the process quite easy. Conviction is well built by being focused. You need to be dedicated to your decisions. You need to face those challenges in a way that you don't lose the plan. You are fixated in a particular goal. You may deviate in a strategy, you may deviate in the implementation cycle, but you should be able to focus to achieve this particular thing. Something else when building up your conviction is finding the inspiration. And for those of us who know inspiration, you can have two kind of inspiration. You can have the extrinsic type of inspiration and you can have the intrinsic type of inspiration. Conviction is built well by developing our intrinsic inspiration. It's built well, it's cultivated by having that internal self-belief and confidence in our abilities. Do you believe that you can actually tackle this particular journey? Do you believe that you are capable to handle this particular obstacle? If you are enrolling for a master's program, for example, or a PhD program, or any other particular program, do you believe that you can actually handle it? That makes a lot of difference because if you don't believe, then it's hard for you to actually have a strong opinion about it. You need to be purposeful. You need to attach your reason to why you are working on this particular goal. Is it adding up to the total sum of what you wanted to achieve in your life? Because there is a reason why you are here in this particular world. There is something you want to leave as a legacy. So is the principles, is the growth journey, is your belief fine-tuned towards the purpose you wanted to achieve? Then lastly, you need to now usurp the power of your conviction as a motivation to overcome the challenges and the perseverance and develop the perseverance you need to move from one level to the other. So as a recap, today I want you to develop that particular opinion, that strong belief that this is actually what I want. I want you to develop the steps, I want you to develop the tenets so that when you build up your conviction, it can set you rolling towards the other end. Remember, whatever we believe is what we become. If you say that this is what I'll do and I believe I can do so, it makes it easier for you to achieve this particular goal. So be convicted and develop it as your first principle towards your personal growth. Aspect number 2, we are going to discuss the principle of being ambitious. So what comes to your mind when you think about ambition? Most of us, we are mediocre. Most of us, we are into average. We are just there to do the minimum. Whenever you work with employees, for example, you find people, some of them just are there to do the bare minimum. They are there to attend to their jobs, to report, to sign in, stay, do the bare minimum, and then sign out. With such kind of a thinking, it's hard for you to push yourself to the next level. Pushing yourself to the next level means you are actually willing to think and focus on excellence. You are willing to push and to propel yourself to reach a different level of life. You are willing and you are able to think and challenge yourself to raise the bar of your performance. So, Mark Twain tells us that keep away from those who try to belittle your ambitions because small people will always do that. But the really great make you believe that you too can become great. While developing your ambition, you need to be very careful. Why? You need to check on your network. You need to know what kind of people are you sharing your growth agenda. Are you there with people who are focused on the little, on the mediocre aspect of life, that they are not even inspired and they wonder, by the way, why are you so bothered about getting something more than what you have? So it's good to be contented in life, but what are you contented about? Is it about mediocrity? So challenge number 2 will be being ambitious. So how can you build your ambition? It's all about setting goals. That's aspect number 1. And as you know, this is not something new. Goals ought to be smart. They ought to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. I know this discussion will not dwell so much into the technicalities of setting goals, but one thing about ambition is the ability to think big, dream big, and design big targets. You need to aim for targets that require you to step outside your comfort zone. Your goals should not be goals which you can reach just easily. You need to challenge yourself to more ambitious goals. You need to think beyond the basics. You need to embrace a growth mindset. You need to know that for you to perform more than what you wanted to do, you need to develop a different kind of mindset than what you had today. You need to understand that I have to develop new skills to make me achieve new goals. You have to learn new skills for you to handle new targets. What does this mean? It means the ability for you to expand your thinking horizon. It means the ability for you to be a continuous learner. The other aspect of being ambitious is thinking about the risk and making the decision to be a risk taker. I've put a caveat that there should be calculated risk. I know in our strategy discussion, we'll discuss more about the other elements of risk. But ambition is about the willingness to focus, the willingness to make a step and go, make a decision. You are not sure, it's all about uncertainty, but you are willing to pursue these particular goals. Life by itself is a risk. Seeking continuous improvement. You need to enhance yourself. You need to create a cycle about your education and exposure. Remember, if you are fixated in one particular place, it's very hard for you to think differently. You are always influenced by the number of books you read and the kind of books you read and the people you meet along. What kind of learning are you exposing yourself into? Are you getting people teaching you on how to do things differently? You cannot be empowered mentally to think about ambition if, by all means, you have cocooned yourself into what you knew yesterday. Things are changing, and for you to adapt in your growth life cycle, you need to be continuously improving yourself. Let's move on to our principle number 3, and this talks about proactivity. What do you understand by the term proactivity? And I want to ask you this question. In your life, are you a reactive person or are you a proactive person? How do you approach problems? Are you a firefighter who is there just to switch off, who is there just to put off that particular fire, such that you are always caught up by events? You are always fighting on the last minute. For you to have a growth mindset, for you to pursue and make different levels of life, you need to take initiative. You need to actively shape your path towards your growth. You need to be intentional about your growth and what it takes for you to grow. So, proactivity brings about responsibility in your growth journey. It's upon you to actively seek for the opportunities for self improvement. It's about you to actually take charge of your growth journey. In as much as we will be there to support you, we will be there to cheer you up. It's upon the athlete to actually take charge of the race. So, as you empower yourself for this growth journey, ensure that you are actually taking charge of your process. So, how will you build your proactivity? Item number 1 is about taking ownership. It's about responsibility when making actions and choices. It's about taking that resolute decision that for this, it's about me. For this, I have to work it from my hand. Before I involve other people, I have to make this resolute decision to take ownership of the journey. It's about discovering or working on your financial goals. It's about you taking responsibility. Proactivity doesn't go hand in hand with blame games and excuses. In being proactive, you need to set goals and plan ahead. You need to have, let's say, 1 year plan, long-term plans, short-term plans, and actively work on them. And there's something I've mentioned in one of my presentations that plans should not just be plans. Plans should actually be actionable. You should have an action course. And remember, we say that goals should be time bound. So set goals and have a plan to help you propel to the next level. Actively seek out learning experiences. When was the last time you enrolled for a different course? When was the last time you decided to do something differently? Did you enroll on a course? Did you enroll on a workshop? Have you been seeking out the mentorship programs? That is what is all about being proactive. Proactivity as well needs you to be so much strategic and be able to seize opportunities. You need to actively seek out opportunities for growth and development. It's not about waiting for opportunities. It's about thinking ahead. It's about strategically positioning yourself for excellence. It's about knowing when the opportunities really knock. Because it is said that sometimes opportunities knock in aprons. Sometimes opportunities knock at weird times. But you need, as a proactive person, to think and be able to seize these opportunities. You need to be flexible and adapt to the changing realm. You need to learn from setbacks. In your journey, things will not be constant. Things will change irrespective of way you wanted it to be. So, as a good learner, you need to view the setbacks, you need to view the challenges in a proactive approach. You need to see them as opportunities to change the model you are thinking about. So, let's face it, when wind comes in, you have two kind of trees. One will sway with the wind, the other will maybe be static. And if you are static, it means the branches will be cut down. So in your journey, I need you to be flexible. I need you to adapt. I need you to be agile. Think and respond to situations as fast as you can. Principle number 4 is talking to us about the value of working in teams. As an individual, you are limited in one way or the other. But when you work as a team, you have the opportunity to have the different views, different alternatives, different strengths from different people. And Michael Jordan says, talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championship. So teamwork is all about collaboration, all about communication and synergy. When you read the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you are going to read so much about synergy and the value synergy of efforts bring to each individual. So it's about diversity, it's about amassing the strengths, being a dynamic team member, and revolutionizing the way you handle your teams. As a team member, you need to embrace diversity. You need to recognize the value of unique strengths and perspectives that each member brings. You need to be open to the opportunities to learn from the knowledge and experiences of other people. Remember, you don't have the whole opportunity to learn from your own experiences. So, as an individual, you need to take the proactive approach of embracing diversity so that you can easily maybe amass the strengths of these other people in your journey. If you are running a business, for example, you don't need to be an accountant, you don't need to be a manager, you don't need to be a salesperson. What you need to do is to get a team which can be able to help you to build on and implement the various strategies or the goals or the missions of the business. Get people who are talented in the different fields. Something very important when working in teams is communication. You need to be very keen when it comes to communication. How are you sharing your ideas? How are you listening to the other team members? What is your kind of feedback? Because a mess In communication, a breakdown in communication will kill the dynamic nature of a team. The moment you lose one or two team members, that team will not work as intended. And the most prominent cause of disruption or poor working structure in teams is the lack of good communication. In teams, you need to collaborate and support others. Foster a culture to collaborate, to cooperate, and mutually support other members. Remember, you are in a mutual relationship when you are a team. You need to contribute and you need to accept the feedback from others so that it can help you. Learn from others. Take all the opportunities available to amass the knowledge and experiences of other people. Have a network of people who are willing to set you to the next level. Build strong relationship, and the three important things about relationship is the mutual support, the mutual respect, and the development of trust. The moment you lose the three aspects, you have a disintegration when it comes to working in teams. And our last presentation will be about being strategic in your journey. Your growth should not just be another decision. It should be something you have thought about. It should be something you come up with a strategy. And in coming up with a strategy, it's about coming up with a long-term perspective and carefully planning your actions. Look, have you seen the next 5 years, the 2 years, the 1 year, the 30 minutes? Are you strategic about them? Are you focused and purposed about them? So in developing a strategy, you need to be very keen on the kind of visions you develop, on the kind of actionable goals you develop, and now the outline of how you're going to implement this particular vision. So clearly articulate your long-term goals and aspirations. Sit down, develop a 5-year plan. Sit down, come up with a 2-year plan. Define the specific and measurable goals that contribute to your overall strategy. What kind of milestones should you achieve maybe after 1 month? What kind of milestones do you want to achieve in the long run? Work on them. Break down your strategy into short-term goals, long-term goals, and be able to work them around the priority you are engaging. Develop the plan and have a clear roadmap. Know, and something important which you are going to tackle next is about risk analysis and risk management. We are on our last discussion, and this is risk analysis, risk management, and risk getting alternatives about risk, considering the potential outcomes. You need to be proactive when it comes to a strategy and see what kind of risks are coming with this particular growth journey. When you develop a strategy, there are some different risks which come along the journey. So you have different responses to the risks. You can decide to reduce, you can decide to accept, you can decide to transfer, or you can decide to avoid. So you need to be proactive in analyzing, in testing, in seeking out for the risks and having a mitigation measure. In case you're working on a project you know which will demand a lot of finance, do you know what you or how you can be able to source for the different finances? If you're working on a project which will demand maybe a higher level of knowledge, have you seen how you can be able to source for the different kind of knowledge? It is also important to be holding meetings, personal meetings, to be intentional about your monitoring and control process. Be keen in the implementation phase of your strategy. so that you don't just implement things without seeing. You need to ask yourself at the end of it all, how much have I been able to achieve? How far have I been able to come? That has been our presentation about the 5 principles which will help you in your growth journey. So if you want to know much about Patrick Egon, you have this particular slide on that. I do a lot of motivational speaking, electrical and electronics engineering. I'm a transformational leader, an author, and an entrepreneur. So be out. If you want to reach out for a conversation with me, you have this opportunity to talk to me. I appreciate you for being with me up to the end. And once again, I want to ask you to join me in this particular channel. Kindly subscribe, kindly share, and watch with your teams. Until next time, take care of yourself.